What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the biggest disaster on the internet. It's the Four Heads Podcast with your host, Goldenboy, Sideshow, Reinforce, and a very sickly Bren today. Brennan Hook has been diagnosed with strep throat.
No.
He's kind of been anti-diagnosed with strep throat. They don't know what it is, but they know it isn't strep throat.
I woke up today. I looked at the Minute Clinic because apparently in the US, don't even get me fucking started on the US healthcare system because this shit is the most complicated nonsense I've ever known.
All right, wait there. Before you get into it, just tell everybody what happened because it's the stupidest thing to actually have gone ill from.
Tell them what happened, and then I'll do some housekeeping.
I still don't know if it is from that. But on the Saturday, we did the hot sauce skit on Watchpoint, and I was just gonna eat one or whatever, right? But then what ended up happening was Matt and Zoe gave me their chicken nuggets, and I was like, well, fuck it, I'll just eat all of it then. So I ate all of it and washed it down with the hot sauce as well, and then I was fine. I ate it. It was a bit hot. I was crying.
The hot sauce isn't just normal hot sauce though. It's like some weird million Scoville unit crazy shit called.
It wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as the end. The end was the previous one. This one wasn't as bad.
Ah, okay.
So I had it. I was out of action for maybe 15 minutes, but I was fine after that. It was just like tears, the nose was running, things like that.
Mm.
The day after, I can feel an illness coming on in the back of my throat, and I'm like, oh god, here we go. I'm getting sick on the Sunday. Wake up on Monday. Really quite bad. I can't swallow solid foods. I can't swallow my own saliva because it hurts. I can still talk, and that hasn't gone yet. But I'm just obviously a bit more soft-spoken. It's unusual, right? It's a strange phenomenon.
Kind of sensitive.
No one has ever heard this before. But but it was pretty bad then, and I essentially was living off just like fuck up food, and I didn't eat anything pretty much yesterday. Taking ibuprofen to reduce the swelling because I thought it was my tonsils as well. Tonsils were feeling pretty swollen. Woke up this morning, still pretty bad. Decided to go to the doctors. Now, here we bloody go. Now I don't know. I don't think I got sick from the hot sauce. I think what happened was the spice might have irritated my tonsils, which is like. And correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but your tonsils are like the first line of your defense, right?
Yeah.
From infection and stuff.
Yeah.
I think they may have irritated them, and from that point on, I've picked up an illness. So I go to the doctors. I go to a Minute Clinic in CVS.
What is a Minute Clinic?
In the UK, you go to the GP. You go to the general
urgent care
practitioner.
Yeah.
And then they tell you what's wrong, and then they can direct you to something if it's more serious. But usually
which makes
they have
perfect
stuff for
sense.
you.
That to me is a very sensible solution.
I thought the Minute Clinic was that. So I'd gone there before to get my ears cleaned out before I went to Thailand because they were blocked. That's a story for another time. But this, I went to this place, and it was like I booked myself in. You can't specify a time; you just have to book yourself in, and then it says, "Oh, well, your appointment's at 1:30." I booked the appointment at 1:15, so I was rushing out the door, rushing to the CVS. I get there. She takes me in. The woman takes a look at me. And she's like, "Whoa, oh, here we go." She again, very moody woman as well. Like, just clearly just not in a good mood.
Not happy with her job.
Not happy with her job. Like, she was like, oh, so what have you got? You've ever had strep throat before? And I'm like, nope, never had strep throat.
One of those dumb fucks that's been down in super hot sauce again, wandering into my CVS.
No, and she sits me down. She's like, feeling that. She's reading my breathing, my blood pressure. She takes a look at the back of my throat. She shines a light down the back of my throat. She goes, oof, oi, that's bad. Is what she said. And I was like,
oof, oi.
Oof, oi, that's bad.
That's bad.
Yeah. And I was like,
where was she from?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oof, oi, go boy, that is bad.
Yeah, it was pretty much like that. And I was like, oh, boy, okay. She takes I'm not even joking, this entire appointment was 5 minutes long. I try and use my expat health insurance, that, by the way, is a one-time use on this. Okay. And she's like, no, we don't take that here. So I'm like, cool. So she's like, yeah, it's going to be $174 plus copay on anything we prescribe you. And I was like, well, I was thinking in my mind, like, wow, it's $174, probably going to get the full Monty, right? Probably going to test for everything. No, She gets a swab, puts it on the back of my throat.
The full Monty.
Puts it in a solution, tests it for 5 minutes, and kicks me out, taking my $200, saying, no, you don't have strep throat. But there's a chance that we could be wrong. I was like, what's the odds on that? And she, as I said to her, what's the odds on you being wrong with this? And she was like, yeah, about 10%. So I was like, what?
So
and
there's a 1 in 10 chance that you just
1 in 10 chance
by CVS.
Yeah, there's 1 in 10 chance I've been robbed by CVS. She's like, oh, you can send it off to another clinic if you want. We can send it off for you just to double check it. And I was like, well, is that free? And she's like, no. And I was like, well, how much is it? She said, oh, it's another $100.
Oh my God.
So I was like, well, I'm going to fucking take the odds of what I have. Apparently this is the US healthcare system. It's gambling with your life. Apparently. This is the way it works.
My favorite part of the story is just like your gluttony for hot sauce, and how you told the story was like how I described eating dessert, and it's just like, oh, we were gonna do this thing, and then I was like, oh, I'll just have one piece, and then I had 2 pieces.
Yeah.
And just down the bottle. It's like me eating ice cream, just like, oh, I'll have a spoon of ice cream, and then I just fucking downing milkshake.
Ice cream. Apparently, ice cream is great for sore throats. Like, if you want something to eat, just eat ice cream. The 2 things that my family would always eat were ice cream, and okay, not my family, but my granddad used to eat bacon fat on the end of a piece of string. So he'd like strip bacon fat off bacon and tie it together, and then tie it to a piece of string, and you're supposed to swallow the bacon fat and pull it back up. And then you swallow the bacon fat down and you pull it back up.
What does that
That's
do?
fucked up.
And it lubes up your throat.
Lubes?
Yeah, essentially, because it like coats your throat.
Mate, we're not in the medieval age anymore. There has to be a better solution.
Well, all I'm saying is
taking bacon fat on a string.
It's funny you say that,
Johnny.
Johnny.
Thing, man.
Yeah, it's funny you say that we're not in the medieval times, because they've given me a little bottle of this now. This is a thing called lidocaine viscous. It's a viscous solution of lidocaine, which is
lidocaine,
a local lidocaine. It's a local anesthetic. And I was reading up online, and apparently it's not prescribed for sore throats or strep throat normally. So I don't know why they've given me this, but again, the US healthcare in a nutshell.
This is like when they gave me Percocets for a broken arm, and I told them, I don't want your Percocets, I don't want these opiates. And they just insisted on giving me incredibly strong, incredibly addictive opiates, and they're still in my cupboard for when I want a good time.
And now turn up, baby.
Just in case I break my leg again.
Yeah.
Well, look, lidocaine exactly as directed. Use lidocaine exactly as directed. Do not use more or less of it, or use it more often than prescribed by your doctor for a sore or irritated mouth. The dose should be placed in the mouth, swished around until the pain goes away, and then spit it out. For a sore throat, the dose should be gargled and then maybe swallowed.
So
maybe swallowed.
I would go
not maybe, like, oh, maybe I swallow this. No, it says maybe swallowed. You can swallow it. Maybe
I thought you meant like if you want to.
It's up to you. It's your decision.
So I'm gonna go now, and I'm gonna gargle this and see.
Well, if it's an anesthetic, won't it ruin you for the entire podcast?
Well, that's the idea.
You're just gonna.
You're gonna leave it.
The idea is I'm going to come back and I'm going to be unable to talk because it'll be funny as fuck. So I'll be right back. Continue talking about the US.
What do you mean you'll be right back? Go
then
get a cup and do it on stream. I want to see you gargle.
You got to do it live.
I guess I could, yeah, I could do it live. Give me a second.
You could swallow it too. While Bren's doing that, let's just do some housekeeping real fast. So, just so everyone is aware, Foreheads Podcast is now on Spotify and iTunes, so you can stop asking, you freaking douches. But we love you. Please support us on all the platforms. Also, wherever you listen to a podcast, you'll actually find the Foreheads now. So
pretty much.
That's pretty awesome. Huge shout out to Sideshow for doing that.
Also, though, just to let people know, if you can't find it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or stuff like that, it's probably because so few people have searched for it at this point, because it's only been out for like literally a few days, that you have to be more specific. So if you search the Foreheads E3, that has like a much higher chance of you actually finding our previous episode. From there, you can then follow or subscribe to us. But in the future,
what if they want to find
search
this episode and not the last one?
Well, then we'll have to think of a title. What should this title be called? Bren Gargles or something? I don't know.
Looks very... No, don't do that, Bren.
Yes. So there you go. That sounds hot. Okay. So there you go. Foreheads podcast now out on all platforms.
That's some hot sauce right there.
Huge shout outs.
This is so viscous.
Oh, wait a minute. Don't do it yet. Some more housekeeping to do.
I've got to do it.
Oh, we got more. Wait,
also,
we got more housekeeping.
Close. Hold on. We're getting close to 2,000 subscribers. We're now at 1,899 subscribers on our YouTube channel.
It's like a gel.
Bren's
trying to gargle this.
All right.
Wait, did you read the thing?
It's in his mouth. I don't know whether you're supposed to.
What are you doing?
It may be swallowed, Brennan. Oh no! No, stop!
Swallow it!
It's
Our
like
listeners!
It's like choking Daffy Duck to death.
Oh. Dear
Donald
God!
Duck.
Holy shit, that's awful.
Did you swallow it?
No, I spat it out.
You're supposed to swallow it. It may be swallowed.
It may be swallowed. It's welcoming you.
I'll be right back.
So, moving on.
No.
The Foreheads podcast is about to hit 2,000 subscribers. Also, have we decided if we're going to make our own channel for this thing on Twitch or no? I don't know.
I don't know. We might do.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. So you guys let us know what you want to see. Also, for the bots commenting first on the video, I'll come for you.
Sorry.
Go on, Bren.
Okay, Bren.
I can't feel my tongue.
You can't feel... Has the pain gone away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me swallow. No.
You should have swallowed it.
You were supposed to gargle until the pain went away and then swallow.
I almost threw it up.
Okay.
Oh, then you swallow.
No, you can't throw it up if you didn't swallow it. So you've taken the feeling away from your tongue, but had no effect on your throat.
Oh, that's such a weird feeling.
I think it was supposed to go to the back of your throat, and then you were
such a weird feeling.
Swallow it, and then you were going to feel better. I think that's the whole point of it, Bren. You kind of did it wrong.
The guy numbed my hand using the same stuff, using lidocaine, because it's just a local anesthetic, right? But it's the guy numbed my arm when I broke my wrist snowboarding. Numbed the whole of my arm because he had to set it in a specific position. And then the guy set it in the wrong fucking position. So when I went to get the original splint off, the guy had to fucking snap my arm back again and broke it all over again. No. Without me having any anesthetic the second time. It was the first thing. I didn't even need it. And then he gives me a bunch of opiates, trying to get me hooked so that I'll come back. They spotted a guy without health insurance and they were like, let's get him hooked on opiates. Make sure that he's part of the epidemic.
Meanwhile,
it feels so weird.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you have all
I don't know why,
opiates in your cupboard.
Yeah.
Your microphone volume went up as you gargled.
Yeah. Can you try and explain the feeling, the phenomenon?
Yeah, well, I just drank this water, right? This is cold ice water. That is so weird.
I genuinely think you need to do it, and you have to swallow it, Brent. I think you have to swallow it because it has to get to the back of your throat.
I don't want to do more than's needed.
That's true. You shouldn't take more than prescribed. Otherwise, your tongue will fall off.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta wait now, but that's what I'm gonna do moving forward.
I mean, I can't believe my tongue's numb and the back of my throat isn't.
Well, I can believe that because you gargled it around your tongue and not around the back of your throat.
I did the back of my throat.
You know the tongue extends all the way down the back of the throat, or not all the way, obviously.
But it's the tip of my tongue that's numb.
The tip.
The tip of your tongue.
Tip of my tongue is numb.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
Just the tip of my tongue.
Also, commenting on one of the comments on our video here, Bren is just getting close to becoming a real-life version of Genji. First, he knows Japanese from watching anime, and then there was his Overwatch League video of reenacting Dragon Blade. Now he has access to Goldenboy's sword. Then all he needs is the cyber enhancements, and he's good to go. So that comes from the phony, ignoble Billingham on YouTube. Bren. You're close to becoming a ninja. You're losing your tongue. That means that now we're going to have to cut it off and make it cybernetic tongue.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was the origin story for Genji.
Yeah, he just got a really bad sore throat from eating too many chicken nuggets that were spicy.
Yeah.
God, dude, you're damn, you guys are dumb. It actually kills me, but it's also hilarious.
Hey, don't clump us into one.
Oh, please. You've done some well, actually, yeah, no, you're right, Johnny. You haven't done as much.
Yeah.
Johnny gets
You've done some dumb things. Not as dumb. So I'm sorry that my government's healthcare system is absolutely trash.
It is garbo. Like, Bren was reading out some stats earlier, which were like the amount of GDP that gets spent on healthcare versus where it's ranked in the world. And the US is tragically poor.
Yeah, the US is 36 in the world, and they spend 17 to 18% of their GDP on, oh my God, this feels so weird.
That's mad.
Of their GDP on healthcare. Yet people still, it's not socialized, whereas every other country spends about 6% of their GDP, and they have much higher rankings of healthcare. Like the UK is 18, for example.
I will say that the US healthcare system, if you have the money to be able to spend on it, or you don't mind spending the money, you can get much quicker service than you can in the UK for non-emergency stuff. For emergency stuff in the UK, you'll get seen before you die. And like, they have rules based on what you what the thing is. But for Bren, he would have had to wait more than 15 minutes to get seen by somebody to try and check out his strep throat.
Which happened anyway.
What website did you see this ranking on?
The World Health Organization.
Oh, well, that's probably pretty useful.
Johnny's trying to check your sources, but yeah, that seems like a pretty reasonable source.
Mate, I just want to see where Sweden is.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with our I mean, look, I'm not going to pretend like I'm some kind of expert on US healthcare and shit, but all I'm saying is that the problem that we have is in our country, it always just stems from inaction. And there's this like argument of like, providing healthcare for everyone's like very socialist point of view. We're too big of a country to do it. How like, people compare like to all these other countries, but Canada is like pretty big as well, right? I'm not trying to act like population sizes are the same, but still pretty big.
Yeah.
And yet for some reason we can't seem to provide healthcare for our people. Yeah. It is a shame. It's a genuine shame because a lot of people are being left on the streets and kind of fending for themselves. And that's the sad reality of it all. But if you dive too far into it, it's like you're a socialist and blah, blah, blah. You're hyper liberal, blah, blah, blah. So it's become this political thing. Instead of it being about like people, it became this political thing. And that sucks. Because it's not about helping people anymore.
You know what I was talking about before with meritocracy? It seems like the American dream is built on this kind of idea of a meritocracy where it's like, if you're good enough or you put in the work, you can be somebody. Right? Like, that's the core of the American dream. The idea, at least, is that you have the opportunity. So if you put in the work, you can get rich, or you can have your own spot of land, or you can be who you want to be, that kind of shit. But that necessarily means that if that is the case, and all you have to do is put in work to be able to be somebody, then the people that didn't get anywhere, the people that would need to rely on healthcare, haven't put in the work, or don't deserve it, or like are worse people, because otherwise they would have been able to get there. So it's a really weird system, I think, where what should have been the amazing idea of opportunity for everybody and being able to put in work and be able to get places actually ended up with a society where helping other less fortunate people with less opportunity is looked down upon. And it seems wild to me that, like, I don't know, if I was building a society from scratch, I would say keeping everyone alive is kind of the base level of what your taxes should go to. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. I agree. It is. And that's the way I've always thought about it as well. I don't view it as a political left or right issue. It's like, people just need to like be alive, like, cause living's kind of dope.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that we all kind of want to do. Yeah. So why are we not supporting to make it the best possible case scenario for all of our people? It is a very weird thing. It truly is.
But
I
also,
found it super interesting how that Martin Shkreli guy just like bought the patent or whatever for like a medication and then just raised the prices like by 1,000%.
Yeah.
So like it was pretty like cheap to get it, or like cheap, I don't know, maybe like $90-100. I'm just pulling a number out of my ass. And he just bought the medication and it was like, yo, you gotta pay like $75,000 now to get this medication that you need in order to survive. Yeah. Which he made a fuck ton of money of, but he also went to jail because they were like, they were like, yo, you're like literally killing people because you're making this so expensive.
But the thing is that a lot of other Martin Shkreli was just like the one that was focused, but this has been happening for such a long time.
Sure,
and it still is happening to this day. Just our whole idea on insurance is just an absolute disaster. Like everything that there is about it.
I worked for a little while in the R&D department of a pharmaceutical company called GlaxoSmithKline, not as an actual worker, but just doing work experience there and working on projects with people and kind of trying to understand a little bit into how it worked. And I think the argument from their point of view is that it takes so much money in research and development to generate some kind of product that's going to help people that in order to, like, they're in a, if they were acting as ethically as possible, they'd be in a bit of a dilemma where they have to try and make back that money or try and make a profit to be sustainable as a business. But if they do charge that amount of money, they're kind of robbing poor people of the opportunity to live that genuinely want this medication.
But then that's where like the idea of like, then our tax dollars goes to that, right? And that's where that's where the money is supposed to come from. It's supposed to be like our tax dollars are providing support to develop these new medications and all this stuff. I mean, look, the fact is, right, like a lot of people will agree or disagree even, especially in this political climate, with the idea of universal health care. But yeah, man, it's a touchy topic. Yeah. And if you don't have the money, you can't do anything about it, which blows.
Well, also,
there are a lot of people that not have the money.
Yeah.
I can't remember for the life of me. I think I saw a video like a few years back or a couple of years back, which talked about the healthcare crisis and whatever. And so people in Sweden are like, oh, healthcare is free or whatever. But we actually have like huge issues in Sweden as well, because healthcare is supposed to be so available and free, but we don't have like the same quality of health insurance. And also like the wait times when you go to get help or like go to the doctor or whatever are so long because there's no like, there's no hierarchy or whatever for medication. You're all on like the bottom tier or whatever, or like have the same tools or accessibility, which means that if you're rich, I guess you can't pay for like expensive doctor or something like that, I think.
But
I mean, I guess there's
hierarchies in terms of like emergency stuff. It's not like they put you on the same kind of waiting line if you had a heart attack. They're very good, at least in the UK, with that.
Yeah, but if I go in and I have what do they call what Bren didn't have, like
strep throat
or whatever. Yeah, like I'd go into the doctor and I'd have to sit and wait for like 3 to 4 hours to see someone because everyone who's worse off would like be more like prioritized over me. Sure. And so I'd just have to wait until the moment in time where no one with a broken arm came in and just like, well, we finally have time to sort you out.
That happened to me anyway. Do you remember when my head got swollen?
Yes.
Because I apparently punched myself in the face. Didn't punch myself in the face. It was swollen because...
Tell this from the beginning. Tell this story from the beginning.
Really? It's a long story.
It's amazing, though. It's so good.
When we moved to the US for the first time last year, I remember we were staying in that crack den.
Right, we were staying. We were staying in a lovely place. Me and Bren. We stayed in a lovely Airbnb that I picked out. It was really nicely furnished and stuff. And then we were like, okay, we need to move on from here because this is booked coming up. So, Bren, are you able to find somewhere that's kind of fairly cheap that me and you can stay, and maybe Johnny as well by the time that he arrives? Bren found a literal crack den. I mean, I've never been in more of a crack den in my life. It had a mattress on the floor, smashed windows, air conditioning unit just kind of shoved through a smashed window. It didn't lock properly. It was awful.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Oh my God.
So I went to bed one of those nights in there.
We were pretty drunk that night.
Yeah, we got pretty drunk, and this tends to happen to me actually when I get blasted and I sleep in a specific way. Normally, when I'm not drunk, I notice it and I correct it in my sleep, I think. But my circulation in my temporal, is there an artery here?
Yeah, temporal artery. Sure.
Temporal artery on this side of my face is shit. Like blood goes into it, but it doesn't drain properly. So what happens is if I sleep with my head slightly below elevation to the rest of my body, blood will slowly pool into it overnight until my head gets progressively more and more swollen, and it will just like I get like not a burst artery because I think I'd just be dead, but but just a swollen head, and the blood just takes ages to drain, and the tissue gets bruised and everything else, nasty stuff.
The first time that's what literally happened. You didn't think that was what happened.
No, I didn't know what happened. Right. It was weird. So I woke up the next morning. My head was killing me. The size of my head was fucking killing me. I was like, what the fuck? And I came into the room with you and Johnny, and you guys didn't say anything, really. I was like, oh, fuck, my head really hurts. And Josh, you were like, yeah, it looks a bit swollen. Yeah. So we went to work. Went into the computer room that we had available. Don't have it anymore. And Mitch took one look at me and said, Bren, what the fuck is that on your face? Go to a doctor.
It was like a golf ball on the side of his head.
Yeah, it was huge. He was like, what the fuck is that? Go to a doctor. And I was like, I don't have health insurance. Like, what the fuck? And he was like, just go anyway. It doesn't matter. Like, you're literally like, you look like you're about to die. So I went to the, it was my day off at the time. I went to the urgent care, one of the urgent cares near the arena. I ended up waiting for like 2 to 3 hours anyway. I was like filling it in. They're like, oh, do you have health insurance? I was like, no. And they're like, okay, well, we don't know how much this is going to cost. So I'm fucking stressing about that. I'm stressing about the fact that I've got this unknown medical condition that's just shown up.
I think you thought it was like a turbo tumor as well that had just erupted.
Well, tumors don't grow that quick. I didn't know that.
Okay.
So, but I didn't know what the fuck it was, and it certainly wasn't normal. So I had to get it checked out. So I went to the doctors. I was waiting there for like 2 to 3 hours, and then eventually they see me, and they come in and they're like, "Oh, so what the fuck's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Well, I've got this lump over my head. It's just appeared overnight." And they're like, "What? That's so weird." And I'm like poking it, and I'm like, "Does this hurt?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it hurts." And then they look inside my mouth, and they're like, "Well, there's some marks, but like nothing." Because they were checking if I had a seizure in my sleep. And like hit myself, because that's the most common cause of like lumps and shit is when you're sleeping. And they checked everything, and the doctor was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then they brought someone else in, and then they took a look at me, and they couldn't figure it out. And then they brought someone else in, and they couldn't figure it out.
Can you imagine all of these doctors looking at Brennan the freak that's just,
and they're just like, I don't know what's happened. Like, because they're like, it's not normal that shit like this happens. And if you had punched yourself, you would have woken up, you would have remembered it, right? So, they said, well,
I just love the idea of seeing Bren in his sleep, just like fucking knocking himself out.
So they were like, well, I mean, it looks like physical trauma, but we don't know. The only way to know is we give you a CAT scan. So I had to go to a special clinic, and at this point, I'm expecting to be like $2,000 out of pocket, like with this scan. Thankfully, it wasn't too bad, but still pretty bad. It was like $200 just for the scan, and they had to book me in at a specific time. So I went back to the arena, was like anxious as fuck about how much money I was going to spend, about whether I was going to die or not, and I just quite quiet, just slowly just looking at the internet until my appointment came up. Went to my appointment, got the scan, went back to the hospital, the urgent care that I went to, waited another 2 hours for them to see me after the results came in. And the woman was like, oh, yeah, are you Brennan? I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, well, we've got your results. It looks like it's just physical trauma. Like, there's nothing really unusual there. It just looks like physical trauma. Now, I now know that is not the case. I haven't been to a doctor, but I know I did not punch myself. Because the exact same thing happened in New Year's this year when I went back to the UK. Granted, got blasted again. You're seeing a commonality here.
Maybe you just keep punching yourself in your sleep when you're drunk.
Maybe, but what I noticed as well was in that last place, there was like a tiny pillow, not much elevation. And when I woke up and I was swollen again, it was not many pillows, like flat pillows. And I was also drunk again. So what would have happened is I would have been like this, and it would have been flown into my head. and I wouldn't have noticed, and I would have woken up the next day, which is what happened. It wasn't as bad as the previous time, but still, I could feel it, and it was pressing against my glasses. But now, if I bend over at all, I'd never tried this, but if I was to go upside down, I think I would die. because even when I'm bending over to tie my shoelaces, blood starts pooling into my head, and I have to quickly go, whoop.
How are you going to get this shake further?
I have to quickly
Go to a
whoop.
doctor, you idiot! Go to a doctor, you dumbass!
You realize it's not normal.
Yeah, but I also noticed when I was looking at the back of my throat today, I was shining my torch down it. On the inside of this cheek, I've got these I don't know what the fuck it is. It's like a kind of looks like a vein coming through or whatever, like some damage to the inside of my cheek because that's another thing I notice is whenever I get the blood pooling, it pools up through my cheek here into the head. So
right, so if there's any if there's any doctors listening, please diagnose Bren based on what he's just said. Or we've all been trying to convince Bren to go to the doctor, but the reason that he hasn't been going to a doctor is because he thinks his medical insurance, his expat medical insurance, is a one-time coupon. He thinks he's bought a one-time coupon as medical insurance, which it just cannot exist.
I'm staring at it now.
The US healthcare system is weird, but it can't exist.
Bren, have you called your mother at all? Have you told her about their problems? Have you called any member of
they
your
know
family?
about it, but they're just like, well, he's not dead, so.
Is that your medical insurance?
Yeah.
It's not the barometer of which we measure things,
No.
okay? Like, he's not dead.
What does
No,
it
you
say?
probably have a health insurance with a company that provides doctor care. So you have like a personal doctor at this company. So if you just set an appointment with the company,
I don't think so.
Talk with them. And
like
it should be relatively cheap because you're
I don't think so. It's like an expat health insurance. They just it says claim submission. Obtain a claimant statement and authorization form by visiting their website. Obtain the form, attach original itemized bills, and forward all to them.
Yeah. No. So nothing about that says
if
one
you've already
time
paid
only.
Certain expensive, attach copies of payment receipts. In many cases, payment will be made directly to the hospital physician who treated you.
Yeah. What about that says one time issue to you?
I don't know.
No, none of that.
I think it's when I got it, it had like a low. What do you call it? Like an excess.
Okay.
Yeah,
the excess is the amount that you have to pay no matter what.
Blood if I go upside down.
Everyone's head pools blood when you're upside down.
But I haven't done it for an extended amount of time, so I don't know if I get the same.
I don't think you would get lumps in your head, though. Lumps in your head is very weird. I mean, everyone's head goes red when you're directly hanging upside down.
No, yeah, of course, yeah.
Apart from mine, because my brain's too big, so there's no space for the blood to go in.
That's not true. You shouldn't. That's not true at all. You shouldn't
Well, I say it's about quality, not quantity.
Shouldn't lean over. And then a bubble starts to populate, right? No, dude, that's just
Bren sometimes was doing telestrations at work and would bend over, and then he'd be like, "Oh, the bubble is about to form in my brain."
Yeah, so it has to come out. Or when I really start shouting a lot and don't stop after a while, it also starts pooling in my head.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, and you need to get that seen too, ASAP.
We didn't know, or you didn't know that it was.
I just know it's
CAT scan. So after the CAT scan, you got told by the doctors that it was just physical trauma.
Yeah.
And so everyone on the Owl Talent team were just like, well, it was physical trauma. What happened? So there was a couple of theories. One was that you just passed out and knocked your head on the cupboard. One another one was that I knocked you out while we were drunk. And I was like, me knocking out Bren? And so that was thrown around, and then we finally found out there was a medical condition, and I was free from my,
from those accusations.
Yeah, horrible, truly. I would never punch Bren.
I'm trying to find an email that bought it.
Bren needs to go to the doctor.
Yeah, essentially.
That's what needs to happen here. And who knows? Maybe Bren can use Libra to pay for his next doctor's appointment. You guys like that transition? I thought it was a good transition.
Except I don't know what the hell it is. So
yeah. So in any case,
understand the segue.
So so basically, from what I've read, Libra is a cryptocurrency minted on the Libra network, a blockchain developed by a Swiss foundation and a consortium led by Facebook. Now, here's the deal, right? Because I had to think to myself, what the hell is a consortium? Well, a consortium is an association, typically of several business companies. So there you go. They kind of lead that sunbish. And that's basically what's going on. So they made it. So Johnny, go ahead.
I'm going to be honest. That sounds pretty boring on a surface level, okay? Because there's a shitload of cryptocurrencies. And whenever people hear cryptocurrencies these days, they're like, oh, that's the internet stock that I lost $5,000 on because I didn't know how to invest properly. And
I invested in Esports bucks and I never got my money back.
Exactly. It's horrible. I have Overwatch League tokens. Very valuable.
And you have Scrim bucks you haven't cashed in, Johnny.
Scrim bucks I haven't cashed in. Yes. But I find this a really interesting project because I'm sort of into crypto, which, not everyone's into. I get it. But this project specifically is very interesting because Facebook got all the big companies and we're like, yo, let's get a global cryptocurrency. Let's use this on all of our platforms and make it like the number one cryptocurrency. So like Bitcoin is like global, right? It isn't owned by anyone. Anyone can use it. Great for countries who are like, is it like Venezuela who has like inflation problems?
Fucked them.
Yeah, so like they're like, okay, well, let's start using Bitcoin because our government can't provide a proper currency. So it's like a great tool. But Libra is supposed to be like a token thing, like V-Bucks or whatever, but for WhatsApp, for Facebook Messenger, for Uber. And so it's like an entire blockchain, which means that all of these different companies are using the same currency that they own. And they're essentially trying to make it like the number one global internet currency. But so... Before you start talking, Sideshow.
Yeah, I've got so many questions. But
people are going to be like, oh, why should we use this token instead of Libra? And there's a couple of reasons why. So the number one reason why people are so into cryptocurrency is because it's like a cool money transaction technology. You pay way less transaction fees. For example, banks, if you want to send money to my Swedish bank account from my American one, it takes like several days because they have to approve it. I have to pay like a pretty big fee to send it. Yeah, so cryptocurrency solves that problem where it's like, hey, pretty much instant transactions. You barely pay a fee, right? So instead of using dollars on your platform or whatever, you can use Libra and it's much more accessible. And I guess Facebook's plan here is like world domination, which is like, hey, if we get all of these big companies with great software that everyone uses to start using Libra, that means that everyone's going to follow our lead and then just start using this currency that we now own. And they essentially own the largest currency in the world.
But why are we trusting Facebook?
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
That's crazy.
You don't want anyone to own it.
All right, but first...
Because they have the platforms, they have all these people, and so they just like force it down your neck.
But before we get into the idea of Facebook owning it and whether or not you should trust Facebook, isn't it only available on Facebook's... Wait a fucking second, I've just opened up the Twitter thing. Isn't it only available on like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Facebook, I mean, presumably like Instagram? Isn't it only Isn't it only available on stuff that Facebook owns? Because you said Uber, but Uber isn't owned by Facebook, right?
No, but it says that
they have
Uber
actually
is a partner of them.
So they actually got a bunch of other people to buy in as well as themselves.
Yeah, so I listed a couple in our document, but there's actually like a list that is pretty extensive with multiple companies. So like Uber and Spotify are like two companies that are like not really social platforms, but they're still part of it. And so, you don't want the list to go too far into other apps that you use. Like, oh, what if you get like Uber, Postmates? What if you start using like fast food chains or whatever? It's like, what if everyone just starts using this cryptocurrency? Then Facebook pretty much like owns the cryptocurrency and we're fucked.
Yeah, it seems weird.
Yeah. It's like when you're done, I just wanted Bren to talk about like world domination by Facebook instead of like.
he
I
loves
just
that.
think it's
But
pretty dangerous.
Alex, you had something to say.
No, that's what I was gonna get to, right? Like, I have a few friends who work over on the Facebook gaming side, and there are a few former Twitch employees that went over there, and I know like they're doing like good work and trying their best and whatnot, but everything feels so just like robotic. I don't know if that's like the proper word to use to describe this.
If you had to pick like a company that you thought would be like the company from iRobot that tries to take over the world.
Yes, it's
accidentally
Facebook.
Or something. It would be Facebook. It wouldn't be any of the other people. It would be Facebook.
By the way, I just want to point this out. So, apparently it says a 2-token system, just like in MakerDAO's MKR governance token and DAI stablecoin system, and other 2-token systems in the crypto asset industry. There will be a governance called the Libra investment token, also abbreviated to LIT. That's right. Libra is gonna be ran by LIT. Let's get it.
They know how to access the meme market.
So I'm already there. I'm already in it.
Well, they
So
bought
never
you
mind.
quickly.
Facebook, take my money. We're all good to go here. Nothing to see here, folks. Yeah, I don't know, Bren. You're crazy. What do you think?
I think it's pretty dangerous to have one company own a majority in something that could be quite globalized like this. Like
we just talked about healthcare and the problem that we have there.
Well, this is a different problem. Like
This
there are
is a whole
laws.
worse problem.
There are laws in place that prevent companies from gaining a monopoly on industries or whatnot. The competition is a healthy thing because it keeps companies in check as well, in terms of what they can do. But having a globalized currency, which is it seems like this is the end goal, is having a globalized currency that will be ran through Facebook's platform will give them unreal amounts of power. And I imagine it's not just like companies that won't want this; it's governments as well. Like China is restricting all sorts of currency in terms of cryptocurrencies in particular as well. I mean, there's only bad things that really come from it.
I'm just thinking for our listeners, I bet there's like a few who are like, oh, this doesn't really affect me. But just imagine, hypothetically, that if you wanted to play a game or download an app from like the Google Play Store or whatever, that they were like, hey, you have to buy this cryptocurrency. It's the only like currency we take, but it's like the number one app store, and you need the same currency for your social platforms or like ordering food or whatever, and it just snowballs essentially.
Yeah. If it was limited to the Facebook platforms that they own, it's not really that much different from something like a Steam wallet, where any money you pay into it can only be used on the Steam platform, and they have certain things that you can only buy via that. But because it's slightly more complex than that, right? Because it's just going to be a global thing that could, in theory, be utilized by anybody, and they have a bunch of different partners already. I'm interested in how much they actually run it. Like, it says a consortium led by Facebook, but do they have... I don't even know whether it works like that, like whether you even could have majority ownership over a cryptocurrency or something. I don't really understand how the ownership aspect would work, or how much control Facebook as a company would have over it. Because if it's a consortium, there must be... So what happens if like some members of the consortium dissolve as well? Where does that ownership then to? Do you have
Well,
to
it seems
sell
like
your
they're
interest
always
in it?
aiming to have a 20 or like an even number. That's like their whole thing.
I find the technical stuff pretty not boring, but I'm just not like, I don't get it that much, so I'm not that into it. But it's just like when I see all these companies and stuff, just like, hey, they're just like forcing this new currency down my neck. I'm just like, that's pretty bad.
Okay, well, let's consider the devil's advocate argument though, because if a bunch of companies don't buy into it, if you don't have a situation where a bunch of major companies buy in, then don't you always continue to never make use of the benefits of cryptocurrencies and blockchain finance? Because if
just use Bitcoin,
right, well then all of the companies would have to buy into using Bitcoin. There has to be some thing that everybody agrees is the de facto currency. If it's split into a bunch of different stuff, then it becomes pointless to buy a bunch of Bitcoin if you can't use it on every platform that you would want to use. That's the advantage of money, right? Money is something that you can exchange for almost any item that you would want to be able to buy. You don't have to switch it over to a different currency to be able to buy
sure.
Other
but
stuff.
that's why everyone should be pro Bitcoin, because it's like the free currency that no one owns. And
So,
it's like can be utilized for everything.
According to what I'm reading here, all right, so there's this TechCrunch article and I'll share it with you guys here so you can see it. But so basically, it's like it says here today, Facebook announced Libra, its forthcoming stablecoin designed to let you shop and send money overseas with almost zero transaction fees. Immediately, critics started harping about the dangers of centralizing control of tomorrow's money in the hands of a company with a poor track record of privacy and security. Facebook anticipated this, though, and created a subsidiary called Calibra to run its crypto dealings and keep all transaction data separate from your social data. Facebook shares control of Libra with 27 other Libra Association founding members and as many as 100 total when the token launches in the first half of 2020. Each member gets just one vote on the Libra Council, so Facebook can't hijack the token's governance even though it invented it. With privacy fears and centralized control issues at least somewhat addressed, there's always the issue of security. Facebook naturally has a huge target on its back for hackers, not just because Libra could hold so much value to steal, but because plenty of trolls would get off on screwing up Facebook's currency. Makes them sound a little pervy. Anyway, that's why Facebook open sourced the Libra blockchain and is offering a prototype in pre-launch testnet. This developer beta plus a bug bounty program run in partnership with HackerOne is meant to surface all the flaws and vulnerabilities before Libra goes live with any real money connected. So it seems like the whole MO is that yeah, sure, we made this thing dope, but we don't own this thing. Like, because I think for them, even with their one share, they're still going to make so much money that it doesn't even matter. And that's kind of like the vibe that I'm getting here.
Yeah.
Which is like pretty weird. It's like not something you'd expect out of a multi-billion-dollar corporation to just make something and then be like, all right, dudes, figure it out. God bless. Deuces. And then it's out of there. That's kind of what this feels like. Weird.
Yeah, I think it's pretty strange. I think also it depends on, like, Facebook and their MO has been gathering data. I mean, the MO for a bunch of different companies, right, has been gathering data on the people that use it and selling that or being able to use it in interesting ways to be able to make money from it. And it seems like this would be another prime way of doing it. It's an opportunity to see what people spend money on and what they're interested in, and even if they're not digging into what each individual person is buying, so it's not an invasion of like everybody's individual privacy, they can still use it to make mad amounts of money by seeing like the same stuff they were doing with the politics interference, or they were accused of doing with political interference this year, where they can see people that buy X amount of things are more likely to support X candidate, so they can push them in a certain direction. It's, I don't know, that's potentially a little...
Doesn't it all go back to that first episode we had? If you haven't checked it out, I think, what was it? Who's Hosting Anyway? I think it was where episode 1, where we talked about like kind of how all we want to do is just push people to just buy and invest or put attention to something, like, and that's all anyone's trying to do is just put that pressure. It's crazy. I think this is some wild stuff, man.
It's interesting though, because it's an unregulated or very low regulated space, and it's a bunch of companies that have got together to play kingmaker essentially, and to have their own
True.
have their own platform put as far forward as possible. It may be that it's incredibly useful for people, whilst also being bad for privacy, like a bunch of different things in the world are. There's some things that we use all the time, like social media platforms and this kind of shit, and like different browsers and things are incredibly convenient and come at the risk of your privacy being exploited.
Crazy stuff, man.
Well,
people are looking to make stuff.
I'm just going to say that there's so many other cryptocurrencies that this is not it. This ain't it, fam.
This ain't it.
There's better projects out there. So if you're going to pick one.
Yeah, but they weren't about to make Facebook a bajillion dollars.
Yeah, but we should all say fuck Facebook and pick another one.
Well, let's relax here because, lit.
Yeah, I only pay for things in cash anyway. I've got a bundle of $1 notes. I slash open my mattress at the end of every day, and I shove them all in. And then when I want to pay for everything, I just have to rummage around inside of my mattress and pull them all out.
I pay only in American gold coins that are $1. That's all those gold dollar
Bren
coins.
still works on the barter system. When he was trying to go and pay for his the $200 he needed for his medication earlier today, he brought a load of chickens with him. He's just bringing some furniture along to the CVS, seeing what he could peddle.
That's great. Oh man! All right. Well, people peddling things is going to lead us to our next topic, which is Autochess, because everyone's now trying to sell you an Autochess game. It is quick. Bren called this last episode. I believe it was our E3 episode. One of the episodes. Everyone's trying to sell you an Autochess game. So the creator of Autochess is bringing a standalone game to PC later this year, right? So that's happening. And it just so happens that it's going to be an Epic Games Store exclusive. My word, I did not see that coming at all. Moving forward. While that's going on, Valve says, yo, F that right in the B. We're going to do our own thing. And then, what is it called? Dota Underworld?
Underlords, I think.
Dota Underlords, yeah. So Dota Underlords is now the official Dota auto chess game. And people are already playing it right now. And let me see if I can find it on Steam. But yeah, people are already playing it. It's clearly been a very popular topic. Let me see if I can find it here. Can't seem to find it.
So I'm gonna just pull up the Twitch most watched games at the moment, because Dota Underlords is sat at the moment on 4.2k overall viewers. I don't know whether this is a good time or a bad time for the game. I don't know whether this is fair to compare at this point. There's also Autochess, which is presumably the original Dota, is sat at 3.4k. And everyone and their nan at the moment is watching people play the League of Legends one, because it just got released today, I think.
Well, I was literally going to transition right into that. Yeah. So Teamfight Tactics is the Riot Games. It's officially Riot Games' second game. And it's within the League of Legends universe. It's a auto chess game. And I won't lie, I am very interested in this auto chess stuff. Like, it looks really sick. I've never tried it before, but I'm kind of privy to just give it a whirl and see if I dig it.
Same, especially because it's on mobile. That, I think, honestly, for me, that is a big deal. Which I know makes me sound like I don't know whether that one is, but some of them are. Like, I've seen Bren play it on his mobile. So, but I don't know whether that makes me seem like an absolute boomer. But I'm frequently just like, I don't know, in an Uber or something, and I'd play a game of auto chess. It's not something I can imagine sitting down at the PC to play as much, but certainly just every now and then.
I've never played it either, Bren. Would you say it's more like strategical, or is it... What is it like?
It's a battle royale. It's a card game, essentially.
No,
it's a battle royale card game.
But there is like a meta and stuff, or like
there's strategy, there's RNG. But if you're good enough, you can overcome the RNG. It's all about synergizing units up and spending your money effectively and efficiently.
So I pull up on iOS, the Apple Store. I just type in Autochess, and there's Autochess Origin, and this is the one that I've been seeing all over the place. Like anytime I watch a video on YouTube, I'm getting Autochess because I think I may have typed Autochess one time and then that was it. And then there's Autochess Legends, which is another one. So there's that. But yes, 177,000 people watching Teamfight Tactics right now.
I think the interesting question there, though, is are these League of Legends fans who are just hyped about a new Riot Games? Like,
no. It's not the same streamers at all. No, I mean, there's Wreckful, XQC, Criparian, this guy's Toast, who's a Hearthstone guy.
Right, but that doesn't mean that the viewers are necessarily, like, interested in the genre itself, or they might be interested in a new release and be there, but the big question is this going to be a new huge genre like MOBA or like Battle Royale or like something like that? Because it certainly seems like the developers think it is, right? They have all jumped on this incredibly quickly.
Well, you have to take a risk, right? As a dev, you have to take a risk, and what I'm seeing here is a very low risk game. Like, this kind of reminds me, because I remember when, actually, this reminds me exactly of, oh my goodness, what was the name of that game? Well, I know Smite did a game called Smite Tactics. And that game was like, it was another tactics game that was like super sick. And it kind of came from there. But in any case, then they changed it into Hand of the Gods. So Hand of the Gods became the game that was Smite Tactics. But there was like a lot of this thing where like, oh, maybe like this tactics kind of like, you know, Final Fantasy Tactics style of gameplay, Fire Emblem was going to be a thing, but no one picked up on it. Right. But I think it really just goes to show that like anything that is on Steam, that is on Valve's platform, it does become a tastemaker. It does become a trendsetter. It's pretty wild stuff. I think that there is some legs to it because I'm seeing people even say, dude, what if Nintendo made a Pokemon Tactics?
Dude, that would be dope.
Right?
Yeah,
Pokemon
moly,
Autochess. Pokemon Autochess.
It fits it so well as well.
Yeah, that would thematically fit perfectly.
Exactly. A Pokemon Autochess. Someone had mentioned, what was it? Well, like a Marvel Autochess or a DC Autochess.
Yeah, it could be
like
cool.
There are a bunch of options that are like very possible with this. So...
Do you think then that this has legs in terms of being a game that the developers will support, or is it just like a throwaway thing that's going to earn them money via microtransactions? Like, are we really going to see this be an esport or have regular updates or, you know, be supported in any way that it would be a proper big game?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know why you guys are saying I think this is the next big thing. I think it's already got to that point. Nobody was paying attention though. Like, it overtook... You had to play it in the Dota 2 client. So it was a mod for Dota originally, and the concurrent players for Dota Autochess overtook Dota 2.
Really?
More people were playing the mod than they were playing Dota.
How hilarious is it that Dota, it was a mod off of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Not stolen, but bought by Valve, and then turned into a product, and then... they end up doing the mod in Dota, and then the mod in Dota has been taken by League of Legends and Riot, and
I love that.
silliness.
What if there was a Blizzard Autochess with characters from all of the different games?
But everyone has the same amount of gold and XP at the same amount of time.
You mean Autochess of the Storm?
Yeah.
Wait, is that a thing?
It sounds like it would be a great
thing. Sounds like it should be a thing.
I guarantee you it'll come a year too late, and it'll be drastically different, and no one will like it. And,
Yep.
And then that's that, and then we'll be playing at a collegiate competition. So that's about as far
Can I just say how I'm super tilted that the what do you call it? Like the Teamfight Tactics for short is TFT. That's the Frozen Throne, right? That's Warcraft 3.
What the hell are you talking
TFT.
about?
No, they've stolen is it abbreviation?
Yes.
Yeah, they've stolen the abbreviation from Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne.
What is the
TFT
Frozen Throne?
Have you never played Warcraft 3 custom modes?
I haven't played Warcraft 3. Wasn't that out when I was like a fetus?
Case in point.
Dude, Wintermall, Footman Frenzy, Warlock, all of those good mods. Dude.
Johnny, the 30-year-old boomer, listing off his favorite pastimes.
Bro, you guys never played Warcraft 3 custom game?
Never played Warcraft 3.
Well, I mean, I didn't have a computer until very late into my life.
Yeah, I played my first game in 2010. My first PC game in 2010.
When you were what? When you were 16?
16, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't play my first PC game until I was 18.
I started playing PC when I was like 6.
Yeah. But in Sweden it's a little bit different. For some reason, PC gaming in Sweden is a lot more popular than in the UK.
Sure, yeah.
The UK is all about console
But
gaming.
Bren, you played like Age of Empires 2 and shit.
Yeah,
right?
I played when I was young. When I was like...
Heroes of Might and Magic?
One of the first PC games I ever played was a demo for a Duke Nukem game. On like a really shitty...
Bro, look, dog.
Yo, I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say this.
We ain't got shit like that in the Bronx.
In the YouTube comments, put down if you were a PC gamer or if you were a console gamer, like around the age 10 to 12, and if you played Warcraft 3 custom game modes.
Johnny, you're going to get blown the fuck out. Like, most of the viewers are from North America, and console gaming in North America owns, like, that age.
You'll be shocked, though. You'll be shocked.
Really?
Well, when I was that age, I was playing on my PlayStation 1, and the only PC game I was playing was RuneScape.
No, dude.
Yeah, actually, that's almost exactly the same. I suppose if RuneScape counts as a PC game, that was the first that I think almost everyone played in the UK.
But it was super popular in the UK.
It was crazy popular, yeah. Right, so this is just, we've got away a little bit from Autochess.
Teamfight Tactics is actually in League of Legends.
What do you mean?
It's not a separate game.
It's not a separate game.
It's in League of Legends.
That's mad smart. That's real smart.
Like
it was the same for Dota 2.
Well, it's not anymore, though, right?
Yeah, it's separate. Well, you mean it's in the League of Legends client?
Yeah, it's in... I literally just...
that makes it even lower risk.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I was on stream last night, and people keep asking me, as I'm sure they ask all of us, how do you get a career in esports? How did you get started in esports, and how do you get a career in esports? And so I went through the stuff that I had done, and my biggest advice was building up a great resume of content and like experiences and learning how to do all of that shit without expecting to be paid for it, and looking what the next big game is, so that everyone's on the same level going into it. Like, surely this is the big opportunity. Like, if you really
I think so.
hardcore sweated Teamfight Tactics, or maybe not Teamfight Tactics because Riot really locked that shit down. They're probably going to use their LOLcasters for it or something. But like one of these other games, like the Dota.
I think the Dota one's probably great for.
Yeah.
Because the tournaments seem to be, if you're going to run a tournament, it seems pretty low risk. You just do an open bracket. People just show up. You play on your phones. You play on your PC. You don't need shit for like infrastructure. You turn up like that. And then it seems like it would be pretty easy to admin, and you do like maybe the top 3 go through to the next round, and you slowly whittle it down until you have your top 8 or whatever. It seems dumb easy to run tournaments for it.
But I'm wondering, is it? I shouldn't say this. I just came off of casting a freaking Fortnite event, so like, because everyone's always questioning the validity of Fortnite as an esport. So I guess I just have to ask the question, like, is it good enough to be considered an esport?
Yeah, of course. Like, anyone who doesn't consider... Yeah, it has tons of strategy. Anyone who doesn't consider Fortnite an esports in the first place is just doing it because they like to jump on a hate bandwagon. Here's what you need to become an esport. It needs to be played competitively, and it needs to be prize money. Bish bash bosh.
Well, no, because I think most people, when they say, can it be an esport, mean, can it be a successful esport where competitive integrity is, or the skill of playing is what results in you winning. Like, the difference between gambling and playing an esport or just competing at something is whether or not there's skill involved, so that if you are better at it, you rise to the top. So I guess that's what people are asking about these games.
In Fortnite, there's RNG. In this game, there is RNG. Yet, I think if you ask the common person, because this isn't as popular or mainstream as Fortnite right now, they'd be like, oh yeah, of course this can be an esport. Like, it takes tons of skill, you know? It's pretty much equatable in terms of the amount of RNG there is in both games. Like, if you're good enough, you will prevail and you will qualify for these tournaments. Like it's
How does RNG manifest in Autochess?
well, the 5 units you get every round are random. The items you get at the end of the item rounds are random,
based on a deck you built, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it's you can do things to mitigate. So there's a pool of units. At least there was in the original game mode, the Dota Autochess. It's a pool of units, and if you buy units, it takes it out of the pool. So if you can check everyone else and see what they're building, and maybe build the opposite of it. So your units are more likely to come up. They're more likely to upgrade. They're more likely to synergize, and you can just win by that. But a big part of Dota, a big part of this genre is spotting the units that are efficient for the amount of gold you're spending on them, and managing your economy is the biggest part of it, I've found, and that's how you get good at it, is managing your economy.
Damn. So let me actually, so this article came out June 10th, so this was about a week ago, and it says, today Riot Games unveiled Teamfight Tactics, new League of Legends game mode heavily inspired by Dota Autochess. Teamfight Tactics will feature League of Legends champions, items, and abilities. In the mode, players earn and use gold to buy new characters. Place them on the battlefield strategically, but when the fight starts, players have no influence on how their pieces move and attack. When the fight is over, players take damage. Depending on how many enemy units are still alive on the board, the last team standing wins. Mm-hmm. And then that is that. But the other interesting part of all this is that, so Teamfight Tactics is already out in the wild. And now Dota is looking to do their own thing, right, with Dota Underworld.
It's been out for a while, yeah.
It's been out for a while.
Mm-hmm. It's been out for a good few weeks now. You could, if you had a battle pass, you could play it. And they recently allowed, if you have a battle pass, you get 3 codes to send to friends so they can also play it. But you can buy into it, essentially.
So with that, then, I mean, dude, this is like, I feel like, okay, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, and I think you feel free to let me know on Twitch, feel free to let me know on YouTube, whatever. But I think we're kind of seeing the birth of the new MOBA genre here.
Yeah,
I think that's what we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
So that means that Blizzard's going to make something 2 years later and then be late. So there we go.
The question is whether it has longevity.
Yeah, me too. I'm not really bought in on it yet.
We've never played it before, though, Johnny. Like you don't know.
I'm downloading it right now.
Longevity, like there's so much nuance into the game, like, and the ranking systems do dictate like who the better players are. Like if you're good, you'll climb.
Yeah.
Right now, all the people playing Dota Underlords are really fucking good. I don't know if there's a hidden MMR system that matches you up with people, but I'm struggling in these games. Like everyone knows how to manage their economy. Everyone knows what units to buy.
I just don't see the... I mean, obviously, like, there's strategical depth and all of that, but there's just not enough action, in my opinion, to make it a proper esport.
I suppose here's maybe what you're going for as well, Johnny. In a lot of MOBAs, you control your character. Like, you pick your character, you buy items for them, but there's also you are directly controlling the actions of your character. Whereas in this one, it seems more like you set up your troops and then you send them out into the battlefield, and kind of the computer then decides how the interactions actually go on the battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, the action, like, quote-unquote action in this game is just like the computer-controlled fights.
But is that not quite similar to a lot of card games like Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering and these kind of things?
But I don't think you can compare it with Hearthstone necessarily.
Why not?
Because it's still...
Like Hearthstone is way more RNG than Dota Autochess is.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about the RNG. I just think that the fact that you like... I mean, I guess you are sort of like placing cards in a very similar manner in Dota or Autochess. Like you're placing units on a battlefield.
Yeah.
But
it strikes me as a card game, but differently laid out. Kind of.
Yeah, sure. And I think that's why all the card game streamers are streaming it. I just... So
I'm looking now to
just
try and find it. I don't see it here. Sorry, I don't see the Autochess in the client itself. Mind you, I realized I have a League of Legends account, which is incredible. I never knew I had one. And I'm looking through right now, and I'm in home, and I don't see where I play it.
It's on the public. It's on their test realm.
Oh, it's on their test realm, and I'm assuming there's no way for me to access that from here.
I have no idea. I don't think I've got a League of Legends account.
Who
not
knows?
too privy to all this.
Dude,
Johnny's still struggling with it internally.
No,
He's grappling.
no, I'm not struggling. I'm just trying to play like devil's advocate and like break it down and analyze it.
Sure.
Because like I've never played it, of course. So take my opinion with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
I'm just, I don't know, man. I just don't. I'm watching Kriparian fighting these computer AI things, and I'm just.
Yeah, you play against other people. You fight against other people.
Yeah, but you're not doing any actions during the fight.
But how is that different to any card game? Like any Hearthstone thing, all there are is animations once you've placed them on the board.
Yeah, but there's not like a 30-second animation.
Right. Well, I don't know. Do you want it streamlined?
So I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at this guy, Rekful. I'm looking at Rekful play. And
I guess, sorry, just once again. I guess what I'm trying to say, Sideshow, is that there is no player downtime in games like Hearthstone. While in this game, there is downtime for all players to just see what happens. Anyway, go on, Alex.
Well, I'm watching him play, and
I've brought up Rekful's stream as well.
No, let Alex talk. He's been waiting.
I know.
No. I
saying
haven't really been waiting. I can see the appeal of this as from a competitive degree, because it seems like you have a grid, and where you place your monsters or whatever they call them on the grid is where it influences how that fight works. Like, for example, I just saw Rekful he had two monsters on the front on the first grid, and then he put a guy in the mid grid, right? But then his opponent, I guess, had some characters that dived immediately to his back line. So while they were dealing with this guy up front, they were getting whacked from behind. They still ended up dying because the characters are so weak. And now this part I don't get. I don't get what this departure thing is. Like, I don't know what the hell all that crap is. But yeah, I mean, I understand why people would like this. There is some kind of, there's an element of skill to it when you're like, you place your units, how you manage your units. So I do see value in this. I definitely think it has something.
I think the
quite put my finger on it, but it has it.
The strongest point for the downtime element is the fact that there's so many players in one game. And so it sort of becomes, I hate to make the comparison with BRs and golf, but it's like, sort of like, hey, we can jump around all the different perspectives. We can talk about this player for like half a minute. We can talk about this player for a minute. And you're not forced to just single out on this one specific player, as we see now with all the player specific or players' perspectives.
Oh, wait, are there multiple players in here?
Yeah. So I guess it's sort of compelling if you were to make it an esport where you could like jump around during the battle. But just watching one single player, I find there's a lot of downtime and very slow.
Oh, shit. So there's multiple players in here?
Yeah.
Dude, we don't know shit, Alex. We have no idea what we're talking about.
So,
this whole time I thought it was just you versus another person.
No, let me explain the strategy. It's like there's 8 people, and it like rotates through. Originally, it was random. I don't know if it's seeded anymore, but the element, the real strategy as well gets into when you're in a 1v1 scenario with someone. That's when shit goes real, because that's when the managing and the positioning of your board matters more, and you have to be paying attention to what they're running and setting it all up. But I mean, I think, Johnny, you're thinking of it from like an observer's point of view, right?
Yeah.
And how you would spectate this and how you would look at it. Well, I think it's actually much easier than a battle royale game, because you learn pretty quickly who the guy who's going to be dominating is and who's going to be winning a lot, and you can go through the different units and seeing what strategies people are building. I imagine the caster would just be talking about that, like saying, "Oh, they're going for this build here." But you can see like the top bloke who's always on top, like who's winning. It's not like a BR game where people are instantly dying and it's hard to spectate because you don't really know who to look at other than the personalities.
The time to kill is very long.
Right.
Like, you slowly lose or slowly win over time.
Do you think
you can track that the whole time?
Do you think there's always 1 or 2 people on top because of the skill discrepancy, or because that's just how the game is designed?
It's funny you say that, because there were high skill games going on with the mod with a bunch of Hearthstone players, and they were playing their own 8-person pugs. And what would end up happening is it would get to the end game, and it would be like maybe one person is on top because they got lucky, but in general there would be like 7 people in the game at round 30. and like on like 30 HP because everyone's taking wins against each other. Everyone's fending off from each other because they're all good enough to spot which units are good and what strategy to go for. Now, some people are going to go out early, and of course. So I think if you were to run it in like an esports, you'd probably want to do it as if like you'd play multiple games. Like I don't know how you do it. Like how does
a point system a little bit
right
like
a point
Battle
system?
Royale. You'd get placed based on which round you went out in, and then you'd play like 3 rounds or something, and you'd add up the points of that, and you'd
exactly.
track of it. Yeah, it certainly looks like it's got legs.
How often do you find that someone who gets an early power advantage ends up winning the game?
Pretty often, but I don't play at a high level. I play
That's
like
the thing with Fortnite, Overwatch, Counter-Strike. I'm talking a lot of shooters here. It's just like you can always come back if you're like skilled enough or do it at the right moment. Street Fighter, you can always come back. I guess Dota 2 and MOBAs in general was never like that. Because
I mean, that's purely competitive,
but
you know?
The goal advantage is obviously very important.
But there's different strategies as well. If you get a terrible start, you can do what's called like, it's a risky maneuver, but you can do like a losing strategy where you intentionally try and lose games where like you'll lose to like 1 unit so you don't take too much damage, but you go on a losing streak instead. If you know you're at a disadvantage and you just build up the losing streak because you get extra gold from that as well. You bide your time.
So you try and only take 1 damage, but you lose. And then
you try and it's very weird, but you can try and mitigate it, only take 1 damage or 2 or whatever. Just the least amount of damage possible, but still lose, so that you're intentionally weakening your board, and you build up a losing streak. But it's a very risky strategy because all it takes is one person in the late game to win a fight against you, and you lose. But the idea is you build up your gold, you get a massive power spike at a certain point with levels, and you start getting a bunch of high level units before anyone else, and then you just get on a win streak, and then you can keep it going from that point on.
Interesting.
There's a lot about this game. I could go on for days as well about the economy of it and managing that, but I'll just bore everyone to death.
No, I find it to be very, very compelling. I think that it does remind me a lot of MOBAs to BRs to this, you know, like and where we are right now with this. It's very reminiscent of that. Clearly, if Valve is looking to put any kind of development time and Epic Games is looking to get it on their store exclusively, there is clearly a desire for people to want to play this. I think that the money for this is in mobile, though. The real money is in mobile.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
And I imagine that Autochess Origins game is just raking in cash right now.
Probably.
Because they have to.
It's huge in China as well. Like I play it on my mobile, and I'm the only one with an English name, and I'm playing on the US servers.
So yeah, this is very interesting stuff. Definitely gonna have to keep an eye out for it. I know that if I streamed this, no one would give a flying rat's ass if I played this, because I would just look like a dumbass.
Yeah.
But you know, for a lot of these Hearthstone and WoW streamers, League of Legends streamers, it's actually a really cool blend of all these different people, because it's like looking at this category, and you got XQC, who, God bless him, I mean, I'm sure he knows what he's doing.
Oh, that boy's probably struggling.
You got freaking
he's probably struggling.
Then you got Night Blue, and then Skara, right? Like Hafu, Destiny's playing this as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of folks that are playing this game that come from a variety of different backgrounds in Twitch. And what I want to know is, and let me see here, I want to know how it's going to do on YouTube. That's the other bit too, because part of Fortnite's like longevity and like what's been working for them has honestly been YouTube. YouTube has been like the biggest thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
it's massive. Like, even though Twitch is still huge, it's still absurd. So let me see here. Autochess. Searching for the phrase Autochess on Google Analytics. So far, doesn't really give me anything good. I gotta change keyword searching and stuff. But I'm gonna find this out. I'm curious now because I want to know how well this is going to do on Google Analytics.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's only just been out as well, so it might be something that we have to revisit in future episodes.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think, considering all of us on this podcast, I think that actually all of us will actually find it quite an interesting game. So
yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm definitely going to try and play some games because it looks interesting enough. And also, I think it just benefits anybody involved in esports to try and keep track of what the next major trends are. So it makes sense to be kind of clued up on it.
Very true. Very true. It's always good to know.
True that.
So,
True that.
So there you go, Autochess. Let us know what you think in the comments and on Twitch as well. I'm sure everyone's been sharing their opinions there.
We got long. It's an hour 20 already, Alex.
All right, so let's close this out with a few last bits. So other news.
Wait, I pressed on the first Q&A tweet and just like, this account is suspended.
Wow. Okay. So we have competition now. It's an official. We are basically PewDiePie. What was the name of that channel again?
Was it T-Series?
T-Series. Except this time they call themselves 4 with a number 4 heads versus us. They only have 2 videos. We only have 3 videos. Ha, suck on that. But one of their videos has 358,000 views. So clearly doing something. They hit that SEO hard.
Oh yeah.
It's actually amazing. I'm watching it at the moment on the stream, and I don't understand the appeal, but I wonder how much. I love the sound effects that are being used. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
But this is super popular style of comedy. What I found with India, like when I was in the UK browsing again TikTok, I noticed that if I was in an area with a predominantly Indian immigration population, it would recommend me these videos all the time.
Yeah,
and it's the exact same style of comedy. It's like over the top, like almost slapstick when it comes to like
it is pretty slapstick. Yeah.
At 134, his ass just starts burning.
Yes, I haven't quite got there yet. I'm up to 56 seconds at the moment, but we'll get to that. I've watched the video before, and it's insane.
I haven't even seen it yet, but yeah. So
this is our competition.
I don't know where
we got to become better than them.
Yeah.
We got to become better than them.
Well, if
that's
you
really
think one of our episodes is going to hit, what is it, 350,000 views, I don't think that's a reasonable expectation, Alex.
I'd have to whip my cock out for it to be that popular.
I also think we're like really, really shit at this because, we need to not have videos be an hour and a half long. We need to have segmented 10 to 15 minute bits. So if there's anyone out there that wants to help us out with that, I'd gladly welcome it.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, the guy's
so here's an idea. I get this local anesthetic and I'll just pour it down my trousers and we'll see what happens.
No, don't do that. No. All right. So I can't see you guys, by the way, because my cameras are frozen on my end, but it's all good. All right, and then Q&A. So let's go. I'm gonna pull up like 2 or 3 questions. So that tweet's unavailable. That's what Johnny said. Let's see here. Okay,
the first ones were pretty bad. I reckon we take one in the bottom.
All right. Okay. And by the way, guys, if you have a question for us
for next week,
hold on. No, because that one's going to be too long. Well, no. I mean, I want to at least. Okay, there we go.
One. Let's take one.
All right, I got one. Hold on. But if you have a question for us, use the hashtag the 4 heads, and we will see it. I have it on my tweet deck. So if someone uses hashtag the 4 heads, I will see it if you tweet it. So be nice. And the tweet, the question that has been asked, and this is the one that we will answer today. It comes from that tree3, and he says, not this one. Never mind. Sorry, tree3, not you. That's the next episode. This comes from Carlos Penrose, C. Penrose, and he says, who could repair a window the fastest? Did you order food? What?
Sideshow is the dumbest person.
I also muted myself on the stream, but I didn't mute myself on Discord. So you all just
you all
just weirdly reacted to that.
Oh, good, because you need something, and I was like, "Dude, just
full disclosure." Sideshow, thank God you muted yourself on stream because I was so worried for a moment. Also,
I muted myself. Don't worry
go
about
get
it.
your stuff. Go get your stuff.
I'm going to go and get this alcohol because I need alcohol to survive because I'm a broken human.
Wait, what?
This is
What?
insane. All right.
To
So
survive?
let's answer the question
Not
here.
literally, Johnny. Not literally.
Who could repair a window the fastest? My vote, Johnny.
Really? I reckon.
You're so tall.
No, but I reckon.
Just skipping past the only person who's done any manual labor in their life.
Oh, is that you, Bren?
Me. Yeah.
Oh.
I've worked manual labor. What are you talking about?
Okay, well, me and you, we'd be tight.
But I still don't think I'd fix a window faster than Johnny would. I think Johnny he's tall. He can get up to like the top. Like I think about my apartment here and I'm like, yo, Johnny can get them on blinds and fix them. Right?
Yeah. I was going to say you, Alex, but I'm less and less confident now, so I might just say Bren. I think we can all agree. It would not be Sideshow.
It's definitely not Josh. Definitely not Sideshow. There's no way.
Oh my word!
Actual
he would glue his hand to the fucking edge. I'm sure of it. Or he would do something.
No. He'd repair the wrong window.
Yeah, probably.
He'd break a window and then fail to repair the other, thus walking out of there with no windows fixed. And that's what would happen. Yeah. Dear God. I don't know what the hell happened. Yeah, it was a good question. Sideshow went to go pick up. It's just everything about this young man is just a very questionable thing. Yeah, both of you, honestly.
Went to go pick up some alcohol, you know.
It's just
went to go see a man about a dog.
Josh, we want to end the podcast. Can you come?
Oh man, I'm like shocked that people actually like our show. You know, like that's wild. The thing. Like
last episode, Johnny was showering for half of it.
You're shouting through the apartment, and this poor woman who's delivering me my groceries is sat outside, rushing, trying to process my ID so that I can buy some alcohol, and you're shouting, "Josh, end the podcast!" And she's shitting herself trying to be as fast as possible.
No, I feel bad. Go do it.
Jesus Christ.
What did you get? Did you get your alcohol?
I did, or I'm about to. All right, just a reminder as well. I got the schedule on the screen. Rotating through the Twitch channels is still the plan for now, but we might make a new one. And you just search the Four Heads on all major podcast networks, and you will find us there.
There you go. All right, cool. This has been the Four Heads. Thank you so much for watching. This show, as always, has been a disaster, sponsored by nobody. And we will see you all in the next one. Peace.